If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please consider liking it because I'm terrible at FIFA and I need all the self-esteem I can get. If you're interested in football shirts, football boots or anything football related, go check out my Depop. The link for that is also down below. If you do need any coins, head over to u7buystore.com. Use the code TVM at checkout for a discount. The link is in the description. What is going on, guys? Tim here. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to do a prediction. Not really. It's kind of a leak. So I'll put the link to the quote-unquote leaker in the description. His name is I'm a Duck Quack. You've probably heard of him, let's be honest. But that's where I've seen it from. Someone else might have leaked it before him. I have no idea. But this is apparently the full Freeze promo team. Up first, Mbabu. Now, the stats, the positions, none of that is confirmed. It's quite literally just the players. So unless EA do what they did a few years ago and they changed the players. Remember when we had that Jesus? So, or didn't, I should say. Mbabu as a left wing, maybe. I've guessed the positions kind of based on what they're good at already. So, of course, generally they lose a big chunk of one stat and gain a massive amount of another. So he's lost his defending but gained shooting. With this card, it's a little bit difficult to make him into a good player. 90 pace CDM seems a little bit pointless, but people might find a use for it. You might want to switch him into a centre-back from that starting position, but Claude Maurice is the second player on the list. And like I said, he's a cam in-game. It's just really difficult to move him into any sort of decent position, so I went with a CDM. Moving on to Pereira. Now, this is a guy who has massive potential to be a very, very good player in certain areas. It depends what EA decide to do with the card. As far as I'm concerned, I think a centre-back is probably the best place to put him because you've got that massive defensive boost. I say massive, it's not actually that big, but it's big enough. 90 seems massive, but of course he doesn't have great physical. His pace isn't as high as some other centre-backs. His passing and dribbling are very good, but they're not really integral to being a centre-back. So as an 84, that's pretty good. Gabriel Jesus, who remembers when we didn't get this guy? He was rumoured to be, I think, an SBC, and he just never came out. And I think that might have been 2 years ago now. It might have even been longer. But would it be a little bit boring if they released him as a striker? I think it probably would. We already have a very good informed right wing, Gabriel Jesus, so I've mixed it up a little bit. He doesn't look fantastic, to be honest, as a left wing back. Maybe they would boost it a little bit more. I didn't want to go over the top and sort of over promise and under deliver when it actually does come out. If it is a defender of any description or even a left mid, I just think it would be a little bit poor. But it is definitely an option. They could go a little bit crazy with it, of course. They could do whatever the hell they want. They could give him 88 defending if they really wanted to. Kunde is another player on the list. This is a shame, actually, because the Freeze promo is notorious for changing positions. So we couldn't just leave him as a centre-back. We had to change him. I didn't know whether to do left-back, right-back, and in the end I thought, you know what, I'll just move him forward a little bit. His shooting is abysmal, as you'd expect. His pace, I think, has remained the same. And then he has 88 defending, 84 physical, but his passing is up to 88. Not best in terms of dribbling, but you could start him as a CDM and then move him back into that centre-back position if you want. Of course, you could give him a shadow and then he'd be an absolutely insane centre-back. Schultz, probably one of them as pointless cards on this list. I just don't see anyone using it. Whatever position they give him, I just don't, unless they literally swap sides, give him a right-back card or even make him a centre-back. Making him a centre-back would make a lot of sense, actually. That's probably the best place for him, but I had a lot of centre-backs. So I had to make it a little bit like, remember when Volland was made a centre-back from a striker? I've gone the other way and I've turned Schultz into a striker. Would anyone use it? Probably not. Speaking of centre-backs into strikers, Joe Gomez would be horrendous, I think it's safe to say. But there's going to be one or two cards on this list that you just do not like the look of at all. And Joe Gomez has to be one of those cards. Again, I'd like to keep him as a centre-back and actually make him usable again. But I just don't see EA leaving people in the same position, as the Freeze promo, like I said, is notorious for changing positions. So I've made him into a striker. I went from one extreme to the other. It would be cool if we could see one of the... Cool, get it? Because it's a Freeze... it would be really good if we could see like Joe Gomez go from a centre-back to a goalkeeper. That would be really nice to see. Something completely different. Moving on to Valverde. I couldn't find a decent image, so I just left it as it was. Right wing. Is this the best place for him? Probably not. Again, much like many of the other cards here, moving him into a centre-back is probably what EA will do, or even a full-back, but I just felt like we had far too many of them, so I've moved him into a right wing. Right mid, right wing, however you want to do it. You could potentially play him as a right mid in a 3-5-2 if people still use that formation. So out of touch when it comes to what formation is the best these days. But Valverde in any position is going to be a decent player. Massive shooting boost, of course. Looks like a pretty good attacker. You can maybe use him as a striker now and actually wouldn't be a bad place to put him. Adama Traore, this is the card that everybody, apart from the people who don't want to use him, this is the card that everybody wants. 96 pace. Centre-back. Doesn't have the best defending, can't pass, physicals more or less remain the same and his dribbling's the same as well. But can you imagine how good that card would be as a centre-back? The annoying thing about this is people would be using this even through Team of the Season because of that pace. You don't necessarily need him to be that great at defending, and that's why I've only given him 82 defending, because he just doesn't need 86, 87, 88 defending, because that pace is going to be the integral part. But that would be, even as an 83, would be an insane card. Correa, right wing back, doesn't necessarily have the stature to be playing a right wing back, but on paper, that's a very good card, actually. A very, very good card. I am not entirely sure whether EA would want to go for as many like fullbacks, and even if they would actually give a wing back, they could just turn him into a right wing or a left wing or even a cam and just be a little bit boring with it. But I'm trying to be as out of the box as I can be, you know, putting Adama at centre-back, Schultz as a striker, for example. Where would you play Correa? If you were EA, where would you put him? Marcus Rashford is in the promo, apparently, according to the leak. I mean, I find it very hard to believe that they'll put him anywhere other than striker. And to be fair, if they make this card, that is outrageous. Like, everybody's going to want that card. 90 rated. Pace has gone up by 1, I'm pretty sure. Shooting's up to 90. Dribbling remains at 86. Physical up to 87. Defending down 43. And his passing hasn't really moved because as a striker, you don't necessarily need it. That would be a very, very good card. Very expensive as well. Remember, he does have 5-star skills. The SBC player has been leaked as well, and it's Pulisic. But where do you put this guy? Like, I didn't want to put him as a defender, so I moved him into the centre as a cam, and I tried to keep it as close as I could to last year with how many points they give per upgrade and the stats that they take away and such, and I just could not make it a good card. Like, I don't think anyone's going to pick that up. It's not really an 87, but however many stats there are there and counting them up and adding it all together, it does make an 87 rated card, even though it doesn't really look like one. So again, if you had the power that EA have, of course, where would you put Pulisic? Would you make him a cam, or would you have put him as a striker? Would you have maybe put him as a CDM or a centre-back? Let me know in the comments. That's going to do it, though, for the quote-unquote leak. I'm not 100% sure if it is like set in stone. It sounds like it is. But EA have changed before. You know, we are about a week and a half maybe away from this. Maybe a week, I'm not sure. Away from this promo being released. So EA have got plenty of time to change it. If the leaks are that out there and everybody has seen them, they might do what they did with Gabriel Jesus a few years ago. But if that is going to be the Freeze team, and you could only pick one card to have untradeable, who would you choose and why? Let me know in the comment section. I would be torn, actually. I would love that Rashford card, but that Adama Traore card, even though it is cheese, it would be pretty cool to have that in my team. If you haven't enjoyed this video and you want to see more of this type of stuff, all you have to do is hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, of course, and until the next time, goodbye.